Hey everybody, my son is going to help us today, and we're going to talk about all the things that we use when we're breastfeeding. There's a lot of things that people told me that we would really like or need or we would want, and some of those things have been true, and some of those things I just don't care for, or they haven't been really that helpful, just personally for me. So I'm going to kind of go through the things that we use, the things that we were recommended and we don't really use, even if we may have gotten them, and all that kind of stuff. So Palmer is 3 months old tomorrow, and we have been very successful with breastfeeding, and that's been really just a really nice blessing for us. So I hope that other moms get the chance to do that, and anything that I recommend or say is obviously just that works for us or doesn't work, but just maybe keep in mind if you have, I don't know, maybe similar thinking, similar size as me, similar whatever. So anyway, just maybe it would help you too. So the first thing that we were told that we would love, love, love and need, and I looked at lots of YouTube videos. What are you staring at? YouTube videos, and they told me to get a boppy. Get a boppy, get a boppy, get a boppy, so that they can lay in there. And I think we love our boppy, but it's not our favorite thing for breastfeeding. I actually use the boppy more now, like if we're like laying on the bed and I want him to lay next to me, like when we're just hanging out, I'll lay him in the boppy to prop him up. I've used the boppy for tummy time, so I'm not saying the boppy doesn't have a good use. I'm saying for nursing purposes, that the boppy hasn't been that helpful. And mostly that's because I am 5 feet tall. And if I lay my son right here in my lap and I'm sitting down, he really fits really well there, and we don't really need the propping so much. Now, when he was younger, when he was a little bitty baby and people would come over to hold him and things like that, their arms would get tired, and I always remember shoving a boppy there, and it was easier. But I just find that for nursing, I don't use my boppy all the time. So that's just one thing that we were told we would love, love, love and don't use. Another thing that was recommended to me was to get disposable breast pads. I hated them. They were itchy, and they just felt like, like gross. And so I hated them. I used them at first. And at first we used the gel pads, gel pack things that you put on your nipples when they're really sore at first. And those were actually really nice. I liked those. At first, I didn't need them long. I remember thinking they were really expensive. I didn't see why they would be so expensive, but they did help at first. When we were first getting started, and it was a little bit. Also, something else that I don't use anymore, but I used at first, was I used the Lancino brand of the lanolin. I liked it better than the Modelo. The Modelo was really thin. I liked the Lancino brand because it was thicker and it was nice. Like, I felt like it was more substantial and it was going to work. Like, it would stay on there longer, and it worked a lot better for us, or for me, I guess. Alright, so talking about breast pads. So instead, obviously you don't want to leak all over the place. There would be times when I would be out in public and my husband would go, I'm like, oh no, I'm leaking, I forgot to put a breast pad in. So I don't leak as much anymore now that he's 3 months, but it does happen, especially if it's like near feeding time. So what I use is I get, are you okay? What we have are, these are the udder covers. So udder covers sell these in, and they come in, I think you get 10 pairs, and if you get you can look up a code for free, it gives you like $40 credit or $30-something credit, and you end up just paying for shipping and handling. So it's not really free per se, but for 10 pairs of breast pads that I like, they're thick enough, I found at first I used to have to switch them. Like I would switch them every time that after I nursed, because I would let down on the other side that I wasn't nursing on. And then basically then these weren't like, I mean, they're not the most absorbent thick, but they're perfect for either right at first and just changing every few hours. It depends on your flow. And then now I probably change them maybe once a day, like in the middle of the day, or sometimes they don't, just depends on how much I've leaked, but barely ever. And I'll change him in the morning because he sleeps through the night. So in the morning I do pump. So these, and I can put a link in the bottom for where I got these. It's uddercovers.com, and if you look, like I said, look for the coupon code, and then they're free, or $11, $12, whatever it is for the shipping and handling. So I recommend that. On the topic of udder covers, I do have an udder covers cover. I was told you have to have one, and I got a couple. I don't know why I got a couple. You really only need one. But I got a couple of them, and woo, and they're okay. I would prefer not to have a cover, but obviously there's times that warrant a cover, and I'll use it then, or I'll use a blanket, whichever is kind of more convenient, depends on the circumstance. But it is nice to have. It's not something that I couldn't live without. I could use a blanket. The next thing that we find really helpful, I find really helpful, and we both use it, is a receiving blanket. Receiving blanket can be, in a pinch, a cover, and it's a burp rag, it's a spit up rag. In the diaper bag, I use it for multiple reasons, like laying him down to change diaper, all this kind of stuff. So I always have one of these on hand, have one nearby when I'm feeding him. And I like this one especially. This is Aiden and I, whatever it is. I like these especially because they're so lightweight that it's summertime, but I can still put it on him, and if it's like, what are you doing? Huh? So it's pretty nice. So I like these. And then my last but not least thing that I love, and it is the number one thing when our friends ask us, oh, what do you use for breastfeeding? What do you just like in general? This doesn't even need to be breastfeeding. This is just, you have a baby. This is the number one thing that has been so helpful for us, at least up to this point. I mean, it might not always be our number one thing, but we love it. So if you have a smartphone, there is an app, and what it does is it tracks when you feed your baby. So I just got done feeding my son, and basically, okay, so you have, it's called Baby Connect. You have this app, and basically you can put in like whether you're doing the right side, left side. You can also, there's a spot there for bottle and for solids. We probably won't use this once you get the solids. I mean, we might. Well, I just don't know that yet. But it's been really helpful for bottle and for nursing. For nursing, I know, like, I can look at it and I can say, okay, I nursed him 2.5 hours ago. He's fussy. He's probably hungry. So that's really helpful. But if I look at it and it was just like I fed him, you know, an hour ago, I'm thinking, oh, well, he's probably tired. So that helps me to know kind of how to solve the puzzle of what's going on with him. So that's really nice. But the number one feature of this one, and I don't know, there's a lot of them out there, but this one is specifically, it syncs between my phone and my husband's phone. So I can put it in there and he will see it, or he puts something in and I see it. So if I'm away, like there's been times when I'm out running errands and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to rush home. Palmer it's almost time to feed him. And I look at the app before I'm like about to rush home on the road, and I see, oh, he fed him a bottle. Oh, okay. So then I don't really rush home, and then I don't worry about it as much. We are exclusively breastfeeding with pumped milk. So, but you know, obviously that stuff is different if you're just doing formula. Are your hands taste delicious? I bet. So, anyway, but this app, like I said, I can put it in the link as well. It's called Baby Connect. I think it was about $3.99. I paid for it one time, and then I just signed into my husband's phone through Apple, and I didn't pay for it a second time. I was not going to do that. So anyway, so yeah, and then I was gone last week. I went to church camp with some girls from our church that we mentor, and I could see, like, when I was away, I could see that that, like, my son was I saw when he was fed. I saw when he was diaper changed. I could see, and you can put lots of things, like, you can put in when, like, a drop-off pickup. You can put in, like, when they're sleeping, when they did an event. We put in like, when we go to the doctor, we'll put in his, like, weight and height and all that stuff, and that gets updated. So that's helpful. So anyway, I'd say those are our top things that we like, and then some of the things that we don't need. I guess about being the different heads, but we don't need. I didn't find helpful for nursing. Anyway, that's it. Hopefully that's helpful to you guys. If you're thinking about breastfeeding, or you already do and you're just curious about local use. So anyway, say bye, baby. Say bye. Really?